I was going to
Okay.
say you speak quite good.
So I'm not, you know, if you could hear me in Italian, I think I'm not. I speak a good Italian, very with many come si dice, many details.
Me too. I mean,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Italian. Spanish. In Spanish,
In
I mean.
Spanish, I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
imagine.
yeah,
In English, it's a cross language. So I try to give the impressions I want to give, but it's a little limited. You can imagine.
yeah. But I think I keep telling my students, Fabio, don't write I, the subject I, with a little letter. It's big letter, capital letter, and
Yeah,
don't use abbreviations, because technology and cell phone writing has taken people to simplify and
yeah,
use less and less words every day, and that's very bad.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
In Chile, they use many English words like te voy a dar un
Really?
tip, te voy a dar un tip. My God, it's
Ah,
consejo. Don't say tip. I love English. I speak it, but I defend Spanish as well. So it's
uh,
quite, yeah. So let me continue with my next question, Fabio.
okay.
Yeah. What did adapting Nino Rota mean to you? Did you know Fellini's filmography before? Have you ever been a movie goer? I have three questions in one.
Okay, but I have one. The first answer that will, come si dice, sbalordirà, will give you a great. Maybe you don't know, but I am also as well an orchestra conductor.
Yeah, I've seen you.
And an idea that I had in the beginning of the 90s, when the cinema in Italy was going to end, to die, was to bring the great scores by Italian people on stage with the orchestra. And I asked more or less many of the Italian composers to give me some of them of their scores original from the movie. Unfortunately, Rota was dead since 3, 4 years before. And I met him just once in a waiting line for an appointment, and I was very excited because, according to me, Rota was the top, absolutely top of Italian composer of the last century. So for me, it was a great honor to meet and to shake his hand. Uh, I had this idea to go with the orchestra on stage with the beautiful things of Italian cinema. Rota, as I told you, was dead, but I met his nephew, who was really nice enough to give me the possibility to keep everything I wanted of his music. Obviously, do a copy and give it back. So I built up a great quantity of this Rota music for Fellini, for many situations, for c'era Romeo e Giulietta di Zeffirelli, and many beautiful movies. So I entered the music of Rota a lot with the real orchestra parts. I love him so much, and yes, obviously, being also the son of a cinema builder, a cinema distributor, I was very often in cinema to see movies. For example, last week I've seen with my family Amarcord, and I remember that Amarcord I've seen when it was released in Italy at the cinema, and it was strange, real, fantastic, crazy.
Interesting. Now, of all the horror, comedy, TV, music areas, which one do you feel more comfortable with, or which area, which music style has contributed more to your worldwide fame? I would say worldwide fame.
Thank you. No, I think that life decides for us, I think, sometimes. Because I don't remember how can I say in English, bilancio, the balance of a life. I mean, I think that you can have a balance when you are 20, when also when you're 15, and maybe after. when you are my age, you can do a balance because so you have lived and produced as a musician a lot. And why I tell you that the life decides for us sometimes, because there is like a river, no? And you have to go, you have to go, you have to go, because it keeps you. So maybe 15 years ago, I could have told you that I loved a lot, quite a lot to do comedies. Fantozzi and Febbre da Cavallo, that you know not so much, but in Italy they are great success of audience, and everybody knows. And Fabio, you did this one. Then I did a lot of television show and television series with music, and many people say, you did this that story. But in fact, 15 years ago, with the net, with everything, Lucio came back, came back to us. Lucio and all the genre cinema that I did when I was 25 to 20 to 30 to 35. So I think that the life decided that my genre should have been the horror and the thriller and everything like this. Nowadays, I can tell you, when something like this happens, you have to check in front of your mirror and say, Fabio, who are you really? Why? Because if you don't have this kind, you cannot do it like this. So you have to understand, to try, to check. And this last 10 years gave me the sensation that the horror is let's say the introspection is something I love so much. The fear, the will, the hope, the great, also the love. Sometimes I wrote and I love writing love themes, but when there is something to understand, I like so much to put myself in the river.
Yeah. By the way, I was going to add that maybe you can keep considering making this prog fusion or whatever personal Fabio Frizzi on record out of the soundtrack world. And you could also maybe, I mean, I can imagine that you could perfectly write something like a guitar concerto of some sort. Now, I don't know. I imagine many things, but it's just my imagination. I don't know what's your feeling.
I can tell you that I will send you a little gift, because as you understand, I have plenty of keyboards in my studio. There are keyboards from the 70s till the late 80s. It's full, because I love also the keyboards. But guitar was my first love. And during this COVID situation, I wrote a concert that will be also a record for this this label that I'm working a lot. This was from Cadabra Records.
Yeah, I know the label. Yeah.
Cadabra Records. It's a friend, Jonathan Dennison, who lives up a little up. It's in the New York state, and we are working together on Lovecraft and other things. It's 5 years that we work together. We work very well together. He's a great manager of this kind of label, and I love to work with the clever people. And I proposed him, and he's going to be released one record, and I will send you some anticipation if you like, with many of my themes, obviously many of Lucio, but not only those, for two guitars. Me and my great guitarist and friend who plays with me around the world, two classical guitars that play those, just the two guitars, without orchestra. And this is, I hope that you will like.
Sure, I will. What's his name?
The name of it's aspetta, Dark Chamber.
The name of the guitar player?
No. No. Dark Chamber is the title
I
of
thought
the double vinyl. No,
okay.
it's Riccardo Rocchi.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe you will find among my friends, because it's
Yeah.
Riccardo Rocchi is a classical guitarist who is touring with me and playing also 12 strings.
Yeah.
Some nice, great musician,
Yeah.
and I wanted to share with them this experience.
Yeah, last night I was watching one show that you gave, and then there were a couple of fans asking you to sign the DVDs, 100 DVDs and CDs, and I think the poster, one of the, I mean, somebody was signing, I think one of the band members, and it said Cadabra at the bottom of the poster. Yeah, so it must be the production of your friend in New York, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. No, with Cadabra we are doing a great job. The last tour I did was done with him. The 40 days around the States. Great tour. 2019.
All right, yeah. Now, I'm going to talk about now Puppet Master, the Littlest Reich, which is for me is not a movie that I liked a lot, to be honest, but I thought the music was outstanding, especially the theme that you created. And I was going to ask if Sony Laguna or Tommy Wiklund are fans of your horror scores, I suppose, and how that happened. How did the project come up?
That situation was really crazy, like many things that happened. There is a friend of mine who is an audio mixer for movies in LA. His name is Brian Hackett. Brian Hackett is a friend known on the net, on the social, many years ago. When I went to the first tour in the States, 2015, he asked me, "Can I come to your rehearsal in LA?" And I said, "Of course, you can come." So he is a great guy. He's very passionate with my music. So we stayed together. That night there were other musicians. They were really in the theater on the first in Hollywood. And Brian, with Brian, we were in touch very often. He told me, "I'm doing a movie with a producer that loves you so much. The producer is called Dallas Sonier, and the company was Cinestate." So I told with him, and they asked me, "Would you like to do this?" And I accepted. I don't know if you know Craig Zahler. Craig Zahler, it's a young New Yorker director who was the script the script author of this new Puppet Master. So I was in touch with him, and we worked from far because I was here. And Laguna and the other I met in the end, because you know how is it in the States. It's different from Italy. In Italy, the boss in a movie is the director, the top, the head. In America, it's the producer. So the director said had done the shot there, and we're back. I think they are Norwegian or something like this. And so I met by phone. I met just the producer and this Craig Zahler, who he considered the point of the reference point for the music. So I was here. I wrote, and I tell you, obviously the movie it's nice. It's not
an artwork.
Exactly.
It's not an artwork.
It's not an artwork. But you know, sometimes for people like me, it can be the chance to do something new, something. And I can tell you, for example, the LP, because it's another vinyl by Lakeshore, went very well. Also about that movie.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And I started with a collaboration with them.
Now, in relation to the Littlest Reich, Fabio, did you meet Richard Bent? I admire him a lot. I don't know if you were familiar with his scores. I like, for example, The Alchemist, From Beyond, that his brother, I think his brother Charles has directed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I just met them on the social, because I never had. I just discovered that they are the Richard and then his brother. They are Italian as a origin.
Oh,
Yeah, the real name is another one.
wow.
They taken this American name after. And I can tell you that when obviously when I start one new project, I I study a lot about. In this case, it was the I think the 10th movie on the puppet master. So I took a look immediately to the first one, and that theme, he had wrote a fantastic theme, a waltzer, a waltz, like, you know, a little bit like rota music, if you want, you know, but creepy, obviously, because the ambience had to be like this. So when I started to talk with the producer and the script editor, Craig Zaller, I told them I would like to do an homage, a tribute to that beautiful theme. So you have heard that in fact the title track of the is a waltz with that atmosphere, and they told me, the producer told me, many people has written themes like that in tribute, but this one I think is one of the best I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So I do it in concert nowadays, and it sounds, according to me, it sounds great. I'm
And
quite.
what amount of music did Richard Band write for the score? Because I think that is a shared score that he wrote.
No, 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 no. They put in the end title,
Yeah.
because they wanted to have also, there is the both name written, but in fact the old score is mine. They took a new version of that theme, but I preferred, I can tell you, the original one. With the orchestra in the end, the title starts after the last word, starts that theme from me.
Yeah. By the way, a little thing that is not on my interview. Are you familiar? Do you remember The Elephant Man from
Hey, the
1980?
elephant.
There's a
The elephant.
fantastic waltz at the beginning written by
Yeah.
John Morris. That's really, really amazing. It's a very sad and beautiful
Yeah.
melody. Yeah, I remember that. I thought you were talking about waltzers. Now let's go back a little bit, Fabio, to the Vixio Frizzi Tempera time of partnership and your very, to me, notorious, fantastic score. For example, like Sette Notte in Nero. And I was going to ask you who wrote what in those days. What was each one of you as a role? And you know, how did you divide the task?
Terrible curiosity.
Sorry, we are curious fans. I'm sorry. What can I do?
No, but absolutely, I will tell you. Now, the good thing about the Big Soft, it's always difficult to work with other people, and nowadays I rarely do it, because you know, when you are mature, when you are you have your ideas, you want to, and it's so difficult to share. But over then, I was a boy. I mean, I started, I was 25, 24 I was. So it was a great chance for me, because I was a volcano of ideas. Now you can imagine. But you must also learn to stay in studio, to work with with musicians, with the sound engineers. It's a job done with thousands of details. And I can tell you that Franco Bixio for one side, and Vincenzo Tempera for the other side, were really very, very good friends, good co-workers, and the chance to learn. I always consider those 5 years my starting point for me to be a real musician. So the beautiful thing was our publisher gave us many possibilities. I think in 5 years we did, I don't know how many, I think 15, 50, maybe 60 movies. But the great thing is, we say sometimes that God is everywhere, and we were being three. We were a little bit like God. I mean, when you had to be in the editing room, there was one of us. When you had to write something, there was another. So we divided totally the work. Let's say that everybody of us three wrote something. Sometimes one movie was more me, more Vincenzo, or more Franco, but everybody completed the situation. Then, for example, for editing, me and Franco were the editing room where we were mostly there because it was a long and work of cutting of, and Vincenzo lived in Milan, was different. But I can tell everybody gave an important part of that job. Obviously, for example, you sometimes you say something, you know, for example, Sette Note in Nero. And this I think you can be curious. Bam 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 bam. That one was born over there, in the other room, because I had my piano inside our sleeping room, me and Fabrizio, and I had a piano, I had some keyboards, my guitars, and it was before going and living by myself, it was my place where to create. And that phrase, the 7 notes, it was up to me. So Franco Bixio lived not far from here, and I tried to edit many possibilities. Then I called him and said, Franco, come please to my house and just take a look. And he loved so much. Then from that small thing, everything started.
Funny story. Well, you know, I have to confess something that you don't know. I used to use, I used to have a radio show when I was on Futuro FM back in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was called Música en 35 milímetros, music on 35 millimeters. And I would play a score, a full album every Sunday at 11 p.m. And
Okay.
I took the Bela Lugosi's lines where he says, listen to them, children of the night, what music they make. And then Sette Note in Nero was starting at the background. It sounded beautiful. So I'm going to send it to you. Yeah. So I stole that. I'm sorry.
No, grandissimo. Yeah. You did a good thing.
No, sure. But then this takes me to my next question. How did Quentin Tarantino explain to you, if he ever did, his choice of the Sette Note in Nero theme? When I saw Kill Bill, I was really surprised. I said, what? How come? Yeah. I never seen a case where a movie director uses a song, a theme for other movies. So
it's not so useful.
No, not at all.
No, I can tell you that this is one of the most important thing happened in the last 15 years. Why? Because obviously Tarantino is a great name, and from then on, many people linked our job, my job, the trio job, also to that experience. So it helped a lot. Like if there was a certification of quality. No, this happened without my. One day, Franco Bixio called me and told me, Fabio, they asked us to give one of the small songs of Sette Note in Nero for the next Tarantino movie. So do you agree? And I say, why not? He told me the title, more or less, the meaning, the story, but the beautiful thing was, you can imagine that for us Italian, we love since I was a kid. There is la chiamiamo esterophilia, means that we love things that happen abroad. How people work far from Italy. Listen, the French people, the American people. So we had the come si dice, the mythos of American cinema. And I can tell you that if you go back, if you want to see that one more time, that scene where there is those this 1 minute, maybe 1 minute and 10 seconds theme, you understand why that night in a cinema, Adriano Cinema in Roma, I told myself, this is how they work very well, because Tarantino, that really, in fact, I never met him in person. I am a friend with Eli Roth. Eli Roth is a friend, another director, but with Quentin, just messages, just never in touch. But when you see that scene in which the music is used to tell that small story, that minute story, the best way. I let you reflect on one thing, if you can go through and see. At a certain point, you remember maybe the scene. No, there is that lady who is going back to life after a long coma, and she kills the one man who wanted to make something with her, and then comes back the nurse, and who wants to see if everything went well. The nurse enters, and the music, there is the end of this who does dun 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 with strings, you know, dun, 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 dun. And there is just that, because he couldn't make it more long, so he goes from the feet of that man to the face, with a rallentato, with a small, you know, with a, come si dice, insomma,
slow motion,
slow motion, with a slow motion, just to get there on the end of the phrase. This is a masterpiece. I mean, you are a chief, no? Yeah. You use the things the best way. So I was very, very happy that night.
Good, yeah. Now, Fabio, what have been the easiest and most difficult aspects of touring during the recent revival of your scores, and were the 2015 and 2019 tours the only two ones in the United States, or where else are your hard, they call them hard dive fans, apart from me? Hello.
No, allora, no, let's say that the first time, touring far from home is always so beautiful, but also so difficult. And you put your finger on the two most important aspects. Beautiful because you feel yourself, you go to LA and you have the theater full. And you say, no, I am like a friend, a son of God. I mean, it's impossible. It's so beautiful. People who, you enter and you play your songs, and so the other thing is the organization, which is not so easy to build up. So we have in the first year, in 2013, there are some stories about the hotel, because it was Daniele De Gemini who has booked, and there were some who were not so, let's say they were not four stars, not at all. So we have many stories of that those 2 weeks, quite difficult. But anyway, when you were back on stage, everything was perfect again. Now we did the four tour. 15, 16, 17, 19, okay. And every time it's a joy. Every time it's meeting people. It's understand. I can tell you that the real fan, the great fan, are always they could you can go there 10 times, let's say 10 times 1 year. They are always there. Those 10 people, they're, because they're more or less their friends nowadays. They love, they want to be. But every time, last time in the 19, we had a long tour. We had almost 30 concerts, and they were very different in great theaters, but also in small places. But I can tell you that despite obviously in a small place you cannot have a money come si dice, satisfaction so high, but sometimes they have a flavor, a contact that is. I want just to tell you one in Detroit. It was a small club. I don't remember in this moment the name, but with I think 50 people. It was something incredible, like at your house in your living room. So communicate people with the eyes
Wet.
wet eyes. That's
Mm.
incredible. Um, these are the last part of your question. I have an idea because Fulci, talking about Fulci, but obviously also other things. But Lucio is magic in this. I don't know why. I don't know how, but Lucio has so many people all over the world. I say there is a phrase that I often I just put in my autobiography recently. I think that also in the smallest city place in Asia, you can find one people who love Lucio Fulci everywhere. I think you could find it, and it's a great emotion, and I'm very proud of this.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was a coincidence because we would only have like bootleg video clubs in those days in the 80s, and I think most of the Fulci movies must have been forbidden here. You know, the military government days where I mean there was a big filtering of movies, and
I
I just sent you by WhatsApp one of the newspaper clips that Paura nella città dei morti viventi only came out here in 1988. So it's several years ago, 7 years after it was released, I guess. So then I became a fan late, but I became a fan. So,
You're
yeah.
great, man. Absolutely.
Now, there's something that calls my attention. I was going to ask you this, Fabio. What's the Comunità Resilienti that I've been reading about?
See, you have written, you have read that I put this post some days ago, and this is something I'm very proud of because we say very often we say a Latin phrase that you sure know, which says "Nemo profeta in patria," means that that it's always difficult to be appreciated where you live. This is my story. I mean, in Italy, people love me, know me, okay. But in many other places, they love me so much, they want me so much more than at home. This situation is something I'm proud of. Why? Because in Venezia, this week starts a very, very important let's call it festival, which is la Biennale di Architettura, sarebbe Architecture Biennale, Venezia 2021, which is a long-term meeting with many countries of the world in Venice, discussing what is Resilienti. Comunità Resilienti is the title of the Italian pavilion, which is the person who invited me to have one day. I think I will be there in the end of July. They asked me to put in relation the music, the art, the new frontiers of music with architecture. So it will be one day very interesting, in which I think we will obviously talk about music, talk about the technology, the growth of technology, and also resilienti is maybe you know this adjective, means that nowadays people must adapt to a new situation, and also the cities, the homes, and the houses must be thought in another direction, another way. So this is something I'm very proud because as a musician, to be invited to talk about life, about our job, but also about how we live life today. It's something you can imagine. For me, it's very, very. È una cosa che mi rende molto orgoglioso, proud.
Yeah, no, I must say, Fabio, you know, I've interviewed several musicians along when I was on radio back in the 80s and 90s, and sometimes you do meet people that they are brilliant composers and performers, but sometimes they don't. You have such a conversation that we could be hours talking about different things, not only music.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. That makes these things so easier, yeah, so much easier. Yeah, and I can tell that you like to talk about things other than music. That's obvious.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you know, obviously, the music for me, it's the way I express myself in. I hope the best way, but obviously in my head many ideas are going around.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we could now go to the topic of writing. In fact, my next point is Backstage of a Composer a biographical book? You just said that a few minutes ago, but my question is it, Fabio, only meant for Fabio Frizzi fans or recommended also to general film music fans? Because I'm familiar with the essence of the book. I think it's a biography.
It's a biography. No, let's say that the way I wrote this, and I can anticipate to you, and I'm sure you will be happy, and many other people, I hope they will be happy, that we are ending in these days the English translation with the help of a couple of friends, and there will be, I hope we are closing the contract with an English publisher from London. And it should go out at the end of this year, the beginning of the next. And for people who speak very well español, for persone que hablan español muy bien, there will be the same time for another publisher from Andalusia, la versione española, the Spanish version. Now, because what is that book? Is my life, but not my life. I mean, I don't speak about my fiancée or something like this. Obviously, I tell about my love with the most important feminine figure of my life, the music. So it's from the beginning, from when I was young. You were asking me about my dad. There is also my dad, my brother, my mama, my grandma, my aunt, and everybody. I mean, I start from here and then arrive to yesterday night. I mean, it's my love with a lot of things, more or less quite technical. For example, there is one chapter that many people love, which is the 10 comandamenti,
the 10 commandments.
Esatto.
The 10
for
commandments.
the 10 commandments for the writer of music for movies. I mean, there are many things that are basic. For example, I can tell you the first, and you can understand that many people can be interested in reading those things. Is never fall in love with one of your themes, because the explanation is because one theme can be beautiful, but cannot be correct for that movie. So sometimes you have a fantastic musical idea, but you have to put it in your paperback because you must invent something else. But it's I think it's funny.
Does it, an extra question, does it happen when you sometimes write not having seen the movie? How many times have you written only with the script, with the story, and not with the movie?
Let's say that we start obviously from the script always. I mean, the first ideas come from there. I told you before, my philosophy to dress, to put the script on you and be part of it. But obviously, almost every time, at last you see the movie, so you have the confirmation if your ideas are correct or not.
Right. Now, we're moving on to my last questions of this
Yeah.
conversation. That has been really, really nice, Fabio. What are
Why?
your what are your most and least favorite activities as a common person, not as a musician? What do you like the most and the least?
uh,
Cooking, I don't know, talking, I see that you love.
I like also cooking. I am from Bologna,
Mm.
and Bologna, it's a great town for cooking, for pasta, for tortellini, and everything. Now, I had consider that um, the music is not only my passion and my work, but it's also my when I want to stay well. I have plenty of things I have to do. You can imagine. Also in this moment of difficulty, and if I close myself in my studio and start to write, to imagine, I'm well. So consider that the music is not only the work, but it's also my passion and my hobby. But I can tell you a couple of things I love so much. There was one time till maybe 10 years ago, I was a sailor. I love so much going on the boat with sailing. Then I couldn't go. I still have my boat, but I have no time to do so. But there is another thing that I am a very fan of: my cars. I
Ah,
love all the cars. Now I love the 50, 70 cars, Italian, English. I have I'm not a great collector, but I have more or less 10 pieces, and I play with them. And when I go around with a car of the 63, I feel like being in 63, like traveling in
time.
time, and
You're
then
not
it's a great passion.
you're not talking about toy cars. No. Oh
I,
yes.
I started from them when I was,
A little, little.
and obviously I can add just one thing. I am a guitar collection, you can imagine,
Ah,
and I have many guitars, and every one of them give me new ideas. When I write a theme, this is maybe something that can interest you quite a lot. Many people ask me, you write on piano, you write on guitar, you write on keyboards. I can write with everything. I mean, it depends on what I have, on what I want. In my studio and school here near my house, I have 5 pianos. So you can imagine sometimes you change the piano and the ideas change. But the guitars are so beautiful, and so it's like to have one woman with you, and you talk with her, and she tells you something.
right. Nice analogy, metaphor rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love record players. I think you've seen some of my pictures.
Really.
I love vinyl, so I love record players. Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. So now, by the way, do you have a favorite guitar player, or that's a question I forgot. Who are your
Mhm.
3 top musicians or bands? Or Bach, I know already. Bach. Uh,
I see. Now
yeah.
back, but I could tell you many. But as best bass player, there was come si chiamava Pastorius, Jaco
Jacob.
Pastorius. Jaco was a genius, and I think he had many influence on all my best players of my life. Uh, but bass is an instrument very important in my arrangement, not only because I had Fabio then, but because when you write music, when you start writing music and study composition, you understand that the bass, the bass line is the most important with the melody, because the bass line gives, I say, the sex of the accord you're working on. According to the bass, the same harmony can be different, can mean different situations. So the bass is very important. Now, as music, I listen when I have time. Everything I can tell you, for example, that all West Coast, like Crosby, Stills and Nash Young, like Dylan, Bob Dylan, obviously, but Simon and Garfunkel. I'm telling you about the early passions when I was really a kid, or Mamas and Papas. I don't know if you know that
Of course.
that
Yeah.
band. I love them. And then in the cart of the Crimson King, I open my concert very often with that song, and I'm in love with that album. And and I can anticipate, just to close, if you want. I think I'm thinking about the next concert. I hope that there will be in some time. We are doing vaccine also for this, obviously. And I'm thinking, I'm writing new scores from other movies. For example, for Luca il Contrabbandiere, Contraband. I never did a score, a suite, and I'm preparing. But there is one thing that sure, I want to start with the next concert with a Genesis song, very difficult Genesis song, and I try to put in a score and rehearse with my band. But I would like to do a tribute to that incredible band.
Did you ever see them live?
Yeah, once with my brother. I gave him as a gift the tickets for the first time they came in Roma.
My God. 72?
Yeah.
Oh, I envy you.
And they started, with which song they started the concert? Started with
Watcher of the Skies.
Of the Skies.
Yeah, it was the opener. No, because it's the opener. And let me tell you that was the first song by Genesis I ever heard on the live album, which I think is a bomb. The live album, yeah. So that's when I became.
And I can tell you, we don't tell anybody, but if somebody will listen to it, will be curious. I want to start with that song, our next concert.
An instrumental.
You see, but also with the song, "No Road the Sky," the whole song.
Okay.
Yeah. I really hope it's not easy to build the song up, because it's very difficult. It's weird, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, and it's special to see that Phil Collins is he looks so little today. He's like, and they're going to start on a tour now. They're going to start a tour.
Yeah. But I think that Collins is a great musician, a drummer, but the real voice was the other one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're talking to the biggest Peter Gabriel fan. Yeah. So yeah, I love the Peter Gabriel era. So Fabio, are you worried about the future? Are there scores, concerts, or tours outside? I think that you just mentioned that you're writing some more music. How do you see these pandemic times? I mean, the first and most alarming news we received in Chile in 2020 came from Spain and Italy on television. I felt so sorry. I said, oh, how could this person be? I mean, if you like Italian music, you were wondering, oh, how could these people be today? Are you worried?
We were worried, and we are, but I think I was talking this afternoon with my daughter who lives in London, and we were talking about the vaccine. It's obviously we have many doubts. It will work. It's correct to do it. Many friends of mine also in the States will not do it. But I think that if you want to have a hope, the hope that everything will come back to a normality that last 2 years ago seemed so banal, the normality. But now we would like to have it again in our hands. So obviously we have fighted. We had a lot of problems. I am basically I work because I work for myself, but cinema more or less in Italy is not great these years, and it's more or less stopped in the last year. Then, but I think that the will of going around and play, and it's something that never dies. Um, 3 days ago, one of my musicians told me that there was an invitation from a show here in near Roma for one of my concerts. There is one. It's more or less about my life. It's and he says they invited you. Would you like to come? So I told why not? And we are working on this. And next week we will decide the date. I think at the end of July. And all my musicians called me and say, Fabio, we are maybe we're back on stage. We start again. I will study from this afternoon the songs. I mean, music is so beautiful. So it's like a fire. Just you must light a little bit, and we start again. Obviously, we suffered a lot, but I think that maybe the first time we will be, I don't know, in Boston for a new concert with people near us without the mask and everything. We will be so happy, so happy. So I cannot wait at that moment.
Before 2015, were you touring? Were you constantly touring before the things began to happen?
No,
No.
no, before 2013, you mean?
15.
Before London. No,
yeah.
the first one was in London
Okay.
2013.
Okay.
No, with Frizzi to Fulci starting in 2013. No, it was, I was always in a recording studio for all my life. Then I found that it was, and sometimes I was conducting the orchestra, but it was so beautiful to understand that I could go on stage and do my music. So it is I say in my book that I had my life upside down, because usually when you are young you go touring, and when you are old you stay close in the studio. For me it's absolutely the opposite.
Yeah, well, as far as you're happy and that keeps you energy, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Let's hope, amico mio.
Yeah. Now, the last thing, Fabio, do you have any notion or idea of the day when you will decide you've made enough music and want to relax and quit playing or composing for the movies? I know there must be thousands of pending projects and they happen all the time. I think you just answered this in a way.
No, but no, it's you are the first people who ask me this one in ever. But it's a kind of we are talking about a philosophy of life. I think that if I was maybe a bank officer or something like this, I would like maybe I have dreamt the moment I stopped my work, being maybe with my children, with my, but I think that music it's a drug for me. It's something, and I think I can tell you, my friend, that till I will have the possibility to breathe, I will try to sing something.
I remember by your words, that's very great to hear. I remember that I exchanged some letters, and I even had the chance to speak on the phone with a. You remember the Hammer films? You obviously do.
See, yeah.
Do you remember the man James Bernard who used to make the music? Well, I grew up watching those movies on television, and I had the chance to find him thanks to the people of Silva Screen that began releasing his scores. And then I interviewed him extensively, and he told me, I remember when he told me they had asked him to make music for the Nosferatu, the old movie, the 1922 version. And he was very happy because he was going to go back again to his root, to his life, so to speak. So, well, that was an honor to speak to him, and he was really inspired by that time. Fabio, well, the Lovecraft album, I'm going to check because I think I've seen it on the web, but I'm going to check this Cadabra catalog, and the record looks interesting.
Yeah.
What is it music for the novels, for the books, or for some films?
Yeah, no, yes. Consider that they started with a few years ago, but I entered with them after 2 or 3 years that they were alive. And Jonathan asked me, their philosophy is one actor who reads something from Lovecraft, Poe, and one musician who makes the score, like a movie without images, let's say.
Okay.
And I did for them Picture in the House, which is a short story. Then I did a Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe, esatto. And then some other things quite interesting. So if you take a look, and if you want me to send you some of my tracks, I will do it.
No, I don't want it. Please, no, don't. Okay. So, Fabio, thank you so much again for your interest, your time, and your very positive and contagious attitude, because you look so happy in spite of it all. Thanks for accepting my request to do this interview or conversation, which I could say I thought of doing, several years ago, but it's never too late. It's never too late.
Never. No, absolutely.
So thanks again.
No, thank you to you. It's for us, it's like a date taken more or less 40 years ago, and at last we meet. And thanks to the technology, it seems that we are together in the same room.
Yeah, and I must say the image and the sound are fantastic. I have some interviewees that sometimes have problems, but this was a very good connection. So thank you for your time. And I hope to read the book. I don't know if in English or Spanish when it comes out. So I hope we keep in touch. Thanks for the time, and have a good rest, because what time is it there? Like 7 p.m.?
Sì, sono le 7, aspetta. Sì, 7 sharp.
I'm sorry about the punctuality.
No, absolutely. It's a pleasure, really great pleasure.
Hugs.
Ciao.
See you later. I'm going to send you the video. I'm going to send you the video for your files if you want.
Thank you. Also, sì, pleasure. Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.